Namaste everyone, welcome to your practice. This is Stephen from YogaWorks, and today we have a very special theme for this class. This is a special Mandela Day Yoga class. In South Africa, maybe in other countries as well, every year on the 18th of July, which was Mandela's birthday, we are celebrating and commemorating this wonderful historical figure. Now, you all know the story. Nelson Mandela was part of the resistance against the apartheid regime, and when he became too powerful, he was locked up in jail in 1963, and he only came out 27 years later in around 1990, and then after that, 94, he was elected as the first democratically elected president of South Africa. Now, he had one wish on his birthday. He said, I don't need any presents. I just want you to donate 67 minutes of your time for a good cause. So that's exactly what we'll do today, about an hour, maybe a little bit more. Let's see. We're going to be moving through our yoga practice and in the process becoming a bit more free, a bit more compassionate, a bit more strong, a bit more resilient, and all these good values that will serve us well in going out there and doing the best we can to help others. And as we all know as well, after 27 years in jail, Mandela walked out as probably one of the most free and humble and compassionate and strong leaders that we have ever known in our lifetime or in these modern times. And it is these kind of values that we'll keep in mind as we go through these yoga poses today. So what I've prepared for you today is I have 27 yoga poses that will each hold for 1 minute. 27 is the number of years Mandela spent in jail. So for each year he spent in jail, we're only going to hold this pose for 1 minute. Some of the poses will be quite easy, enjoyable, relaxing. Maybe they're your favorite pose. You could stay there forever. And then some other ones are going to be a little bit intense because in a normal flow class, we don't often hold poses for a whole minute. So just see how that goes. Of course, if you need to modify something, you need to change or come out of the pose earlier, then that's no problem. But if it's somehow possible, stay for the whole minute and see how that goes. Even if your mind starts to come up with some objections in the process, which is likely to happen. All right, let's get started. Our first pose, I'm already in it, it's a version of hero pose. I thought it's a good start for the practice. So you can just sit back on the heels. If this is really uncomfortable, you can even slide a block under your hips and sit on the block. So the block would be in between your feet. If you're quite a bit more open in the front of the thighs, you might be able to sit in between the heels like this. For me, I find I need to warm up a little bit more before I come into this pose, so I'm just gonna sit on the heels. And then I've got my timer here. We're going to be holding this for a minute. In the first half of the pose, I'm always gonna explain or talk you through a bit of the alignment, the physical part. And in the second half, we're going to be focusing more on the breath, on the experience of being in the pose, on the mental focus and awareness aspects. So here, just feel the shins and the tops of the feet press down. Feel that contact with the ground underneath. And then from this solid foundation of your base, feel how the spine can lengthen up. But we don't lengthen up and create all kinds of tension and rigidity. We lengthen up with a sense of freedom and ease. We've got about 15 seconds to go. If you want to close your eyes and just experience this first pose, the hero, I thought a really good one to start with, to embody these values that Nelson Mandela demonstrated for us through his life and actions. And then slowly come out. We're going to be doing the next two poses, which are the cat and the cow. So we all know this one. You're coming into hands and knees. To start with this cow, to drop the belly, come into spinal extension and lift the head slightly. And then exhale for cat pose, round your back, push your hands and your knees down and look towards your belly button. Inhale to arch your back, slide the chest forward, pull your hands towards your knees. Exhale to slide the hands and the knees apart and round your back as much as you can. Inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, drop the chest. Exhale, tailbone down, push the shoulder blades apart. We've got a couple more rounds left. I'd recommend close your eyes and just be in this experience. Inhale to arch, exhale to round. Continue in your own time, just feeling what it is like to be in your body, to be moving with a sense of ease, of purpose, of focus. We've got a nation to save. We have spent our first 2-3 years in prison now, and we're just getting used to life in prison. The minutes are going by slowly, but we're trying to stay in the moment. Good. Now come into a squat. So place your feet quite wide, maybe towards the edges of the mat, and then soften the hips down. You can place your hands in front of you or hands at the heart. And here we go for our 1 year in the squat. Imagine 1 year in the squat. So you're doing the best you can. You have your own version of the squat, whatever works, and you're going for it. Whichever version you're doing, pay attention to these few points. Ground the feet down. Like at any moment you could stand up and then pull the hips down by pulling the knees a little bit closer towards your armpits. And then lift the chest and look forward. Stay strong and stable, even when things get tough, especially when things get tough. We are just over halfway in our squat, which is our 4th year in jail. And I just want to give you a couple of quotes here and there of what Nelson Mandela came up with in his years in jail and then before and after that. The first one is, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Nice. Our minute is up. Start to press down through the feet. Come into mountain pose. So place your feet are like hip distance apart. You can also go a bit closer. And then ground the feet down. Here we go. 1 minute in mountain pose. Feel the weight between the left foot and the right. Between the front of the feet and the heels of the feet. And then feel this energy, this strength rising up through your legs. And then lift the chest slightly, draw the shoulders back ever so slightly, and lift the head up towards the sky. Here's a strong mountain pose. Can you embody that mountain? To be that rock that other people can rely and build on. This strong and calm presence. For the last part of the pose, lift your arms. Same pose, but the hands give us a bit of extra shoulder work. Keep the legs strong, keep the core strong, reach up through the fingertips, and keep the breath steady, and keep the gaze focused on a point in front of you. One more inhale. On the next exhale, start to bend your knees a little bit, fold forward over the legs. This is our next pose, is a forward fold or Uttanasana. First, of course, we ground the feet down. This is the point that rests on the floor underneath.
And then feel drawing up the backs of the legs. There's this lovely space and freedom. Can you feel the lower back as well? This is a whole stretch for the whole back of the body. So you carve the backs of the knees, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back. The spine can be gently rounded. And then relax your head down towards the floor. And then last half of the pose, if you want to, you can straighten the legs a little bit more. And maybe if you want to add a little shoulder stretch, you can clasp your hands behind the lower back and let the arms lift a little bit away from your back towards the sky. A moment or two in this more active forward fold. See how you feel. And then release the hands if you are holding them. Inhale, come to flat back. Stretch the chest forward. Engage the belly back towards the spine a little bit. And maybe even look forward just for a moment. Nice. Our next year is in downward facing dog. You all know this pose, so come into it straight away. We'll be flowing a little bit more later on, but we're starting with just some holding, longer holds of poses. So here's a chance to look at the fingers and press them down. Oops, I forgot to press start. And then look at the feet and also press them down. Can you lengthen the backs of the legs down towards the floor? Stretch the heels down and away from you. They don't have to touch the floor, but there's an intention of reaching them back and down. And then press your thigh bones back and lift the hip points up. Roll the elbow crease a little bit more forward so you get this nice outward rotation, space in the upper back. Maybe close your eyes and really be in this experience, in this very moment. We never know what the next year is going to bring. We've got 15 seconds left in down dog. We're making the best of what we've got. Couple more breaths, 10 seconds, not that long. Can you feel the breath move with ease? Slow it down if you can. Nice, you made it. I think, yes, we even went a little bit over. Plank pose is next. Sometimes when you come out of a hard year, that's just another hard year that's coming. And then let me see if I can press play for our year number, what are we, 8. So in plank, we're pushing down with the hands, we're pushing down with the feet. Maybe wiggle the toes back a little bit more so your heels are above the balls of the feet. And then it's all up to the core, the legs and the shoulders to keep us here. Maybe it's time for another quote. Here we go. It always seems impossible until it's done. This is another quote of Nelson Mandela. And yes, if I told you we're going to be holding plank for a minute and some of these other hard poses you might come across, you might say, no, it's not possible. But here you are, you're staying with it, you're doing the best you can. Even if you lower your knees to take a little bit of weight off the arms, then that is okay. But if it's somehow possible, stay for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Slowly lower down, all the way onto your belly. And our next pose is locust pose. So the previous pose is more about front body core. This is core, but for the back. So it works like this. Lift your head and chest a little bit. Lift the arms, lift the legs a little bit. And let's press play before I forget. Lengthen the chest forward. You don't have to go high. We just get a sense of length of space. And lengthen the toes and the fingertips back behind you. And then, since I have my paper right in front of me, I'll read you another quote. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. So it's not enough for you to be free, you have to live in a way that also makes other people free. So use your privilege and your resources and your energy to help other people also be free. Wow. 10 more seconds. If you want, you can clasp your hands and let the breath flow. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest down for a moment. This is not part of the poses, it's just an extra bonus. You're welcome. All right, that's enough resting. We've got a nation to save as Nelson Mandela in jail, so there's no time to waste. Downward facing dog, press back up. And then just tiptoe the toes forward, the feet forward. Take your time, tiptoe, one step, and another step, the long walk to freedom. Bend your knees a little bit, and then really slowly start to round your back and roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders back. Place palms together at the heart. Find mountain pose. We've already been here, but now we'll flow through it until we meet another pose that we're going to hold. Here we go. Inhale. Lift the arms and rise up. Exhale, forward fold. You can bend your knees. Inhale, flat back. Lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, the fingertips down, the right foot back. And here's an exposed, lower the right knee. And lift the arms. Let me start the timer. And here we go. Low lunge pose. Feel the strong foundation of your legs, of your feet. Can you touch down with skill, with precision onto this earth? And then from there, can you rise up with a sense of space and freedom? There's lots of versions of this pose. If you have another version you would like to hold, if it's too much for the arms, you can rest the hands, you can clasp hands behind you. Do that, but stay in this for another 20 seconds or so. So the second half of the pose, drop into your breath. You're doing the best you can with your alignment, so let go of this and just exist in this experience, in this pose. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hands. Inhale to plank. Exhale to lower down. Inhale, locust pose, just briefly. Exhale, downward facing dog. We've held these poses before, but now we'll just flow through them. Inhale here. Exhale, the right foot forward, the left knee down. We're going to be holding this one on the next round. Inhale, just one breath for now. Exhale, hands down, step forward, and relax. Inhale, let's rise, go all the way up. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Second side, inhale, reach all the way up. And exhale, soften down, fold over the legs. Inhale, flat back, chest goes forward. Exhale, the fingertips down, the left foot back, lower your left knee. Lift the arms or any other arm variation. And here we go, low lunge pose on the second side. As always, whatever touches the mat is our first point of focus. So the right foot, the left knee, the left foot, push all of that down, pull it a little bit together. And I feel how this lifts the pelvic floor and creates this feeling of rising up through the upper body. Now feel where the breath goes. Does it go in the chest? Or can it go a little bit lower down into your belly, into your sides, even into the lower back? See if you can feel that.
And in the last 15 seconds or so, can you just be a restful or peaceful presence in the pose? Even if it's hard, even if you're trembling, even if your mind is screaming to get out, just stay. 3, 2, 1. Hands down, prepare for plank. We're not holding it this time, just passing through. Exhale all the way down onto your belly. Locust pose, just briefly lift everything up. And downward dog, press up and back. Inhale and down dog. Exhale, the left foot forward and the right knee down. Inhale, lift your arms. Low lunge. Exhale, step forward, fold at the front of your mat. Inhale, rise, take it all in. Exhale, hands to heart center, well done. We'll do one more round with slightly different poses. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway left. Exhale the right foot back. This time keep the right knee lifted and place both hands on the front knee. You've guessed it. Let's spend a little minute in this high lunge. Juice up your back leg, even if it's a little bit bent, but just make it strong. And then again, pull the feet a little bit together. If you want, you can lift the arms for high lunge. Or there's lots of arm variations, just choose the one that works for you. But just put in your best effort. And of course the mind starts talking to you, this is a hard pose, we're holding this for a whole minute, I'm not sure if I'm up to the task. I'm sure Nelson Mandela, I wasn't sure if he was up to all the amazing things he ended up achieving, but he just set one foot in front of the other and never gave up for a single moment. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hands. Wow, inhale plank. Never been so happy to come into plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, let's do cobra this time. Chest forward, the shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're well on our way. We've done, this was pose 11, if I got it right. 11 years in jail out of the 27, we're doing great. Inhale. Exhale, the right foot forward. Just for one breath this time, lift the arms. High lunge. Lower the hands, step forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Stay calm and present. Inhale as you lift the arms. Exhale, enjoy each breath, each movement. Inhale, lengthen, flat back. Exhale, the left foot back. Place the feet carefully, because we'll be here for a while. And then lift up, maybe hands to your front knee. And we have started the clock. So first pay attention to your feet, rooting down. To the feet drawing together energetically towards the midline. And then how this affects your core and the spine, lifting up. In fact, in yoga, the core and the spine are used as almost like synonyms. And then lift the arms if you want for a little while longer. You've set up the pose as best as you can. Your body is okay. If it's not okay, of course, you must come out of the pose. And then your mind, check in with your mind. What kind of story is going on there? Do you have to go along with it? Or can you just let the stories come and go? and you stay strong and stable. Oops, we already went over.
Inhale, plank, just by 2 seconds or so. Plank pose, exhale, slowly lower down. Cobra pose, untuck the toes, chest forward, elbows close. Exhale, back to down dog. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, the left foot forward, right knee stays up, high lunge, just a breath. Exhale to step forward and fold. Inhale all the way up, right. Exhale, hands to heart center. Slow breath in and a slow breath out. Nice, now inhale, rise again, push the feet down. Exhale, use your belly to pull yourself forward and down. Inhale, flat back, strengthen along the length of the spine. Exhale, just step into plank. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice. From here, inhale to plank pose, preparing for our next pose, slowly lower down. And our next pose is cobra pose. I'm going to start the clock, slide your hands a bit further back than the shoulders, next to the middle of the chest. And then first, lift up without really using the hands. Just check that you can actually lift them whenever you want to. Now keep this sense of strength in the back. Push the hands down a little bit more. Let the chest lift till wherever it goes. And pull the hands a little bit towards you. This will pull the chest more forward, the shoulders back. If it gets too much, you can always lower the elbows down for Sphinx pose. It's a bit more of a restorative pose. You can also just lower it down a little bit so you're just not that high. Or you can hold your cobra pose at any level for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Rest for a moment. Let the breath slow down. Next quote by Nelson Mandela, while you're resting, is after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. Isn't that just accurate? Speaking of hills, here's our next pose. Come into Sphinx pose. Elbows under your shoulders. And then, no, this is not the pose that we're going to be holding. The pose we're going to be holding is forearm plank. I've started the clock, so come right into it. If you delay, I might have to add a couple of seconds at the end, you see. So shoulders are still above the elbows. With your hands, you can do whatever you want. Clasp or press the hands down, or I like to make the prayer sign with the hands, Anjali Mudra. And then the toes are tucked under and the heels are above the base of the toes. And I'm pushing the elbows down and get a sense of resisting the floor away. Not you sinking down and trying to fight gravity. You're not going to win that one. But you just pressing down and just being a strong presence. This is one of those years in jail that seems to take forever. Let me just check the time. Last 5, 4. Have you ever tried to relax in the forearm plank? This is your chance. 3, 2. That count seems way too slow, doesn't it? 1, and lower. down. Rest for a moment. That was year 13 in jail. Congratulations. And then press back to down dog and walk your feet forward. Nice. From here, bend your knees. Sit the hips a little bit back and down and raise your arms. Oh my God. Chair pose in as one of the 27 poses. Really? Well, we were just talking about after every hill that you climb, there are many more hills to climb. So I guess this is one of those options. I can already tell you this. One of the poses we'll be doing is child's pose. So you have some good prospects for the future. How are we doing? We're halfway in our chair pose. If it gets way too hard for the arms, have your hands at the chest. But if it's possible, keep going. And in fact, bend the knees a little bit more since we're almost home free. Well, we don't know what's coming. Of course, I know. But for you, it's a surprise. How are we? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, sink a little bit lower, 1, sink a little bit lower, sink lower, 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 lower. Boat pose. Ooh la la. For a big part of the 27 years, Nelson Mandela was held on a little island off the coast of Cape Town called Robben Island. So the only way to get there is by boat. So here we are. If it gets hard, just hold the backs of the thighs, lift your chest, roll the shoulders a bit back. If you can, lift the shins parallel to the mat. And then if you can, release the hands. So the front of the hips, the hip flexors, get an amazing workout. Only a minute, it's a good amount of time. But on the other hand, it goes by pretty quickly. Better than a year in jail, of course. How are we doing? 15 seconds. Rest in your boat pose. What can you relax? Maybe the face can soften. Maybe that negative thought doesn't have to be so prominent in your mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross your legs and step back. If you want to keep moving, you can always do a vinyasa in between. I'm just going to hold downward facing dog. That seems plenty at the moment. All right, no time to waste. Right foot forward, left foot down. Place the feet a bit apart for warrior one pose. Lift the arms, face forward. And in the warrior quality, that's really one word that comes to mind when thinking of a strong leader like Nelson Mandela. And the strength comes in the form of compassion and forgiveness and kindness, rather than in fighting as in the traditional way of waging a war. There's great strength in just being strong, stable, and present. So can you embody these qualities in your warrior for 15 more seconds? Just be present in the pose, watch the breath, watch the mind, watch whatever happens. 3, 2, 1, hands down, downward dog, or flow through vinyasa, downward dog. Good, left foot forward, right heel down. Bit of space between the feet. And I'm starting the time 1 minute. Warrior one pose, we're facing directly forward with the shoulders, with the chest. The hips will never face completely forward, so don't worry about this. You're just making an effort to rotate the right hip towards the left knee, just in that direction. Gets too much for the arms, you can rest them down. Let's see if you can hold the pose steady
and strong. Strong back leg pushing away from you, behind you. And for a deeper hip stretch, bend that front knee to the best of your ability. And again, there's no need to frown or shrug the shoulders up or carry any tension that is not useful to hold the pose. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The end of 16 years in jail, 16 minutes. You can do vinyasa, that's what I'm going to do now. Or you can rest in down dog. There's always child's pose, which is always an option in any yoga class, as you know. Nice. From here, just step 1 foot forward and turn towards the sides. So come into wide legs. And from here, turn the right toes out. Left toes slightly in. Bend the right knee and straighten the arms for warrior 2 pose. And the clock has started. Press the feet down and try to get a sense of doing equal work, equal attention going to the left and the right leg, the back leg and the front leg. And then can you do the same with the front and the back of the body? You can even touch your lower back and your belly just to see what is contained in the middle, how your center is doing. And then from that strong center, expand your arms and bend the front knee a lot more. Stay strong and steady, but at the same time with a sense of kindness, of softness in this experience. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift back up. Turn the right toes in. Turn the left toes out. Let's go straight into the second side. I'll start the time. Here we go. Bend the front knee a lot. Stretch the arms out. Pay attention to the feet. Resting down on the earth. If there's more space to bend the front knee, do that. If it's too much, shorten the stance a bit and take a little bit of intensity off that way. And feel the tops of the shoulders. Can you feel that? At some point you might even think, no, I cannot possibly hold it any longer. But just notice, is that a thought from the mind, a preference? Or is that a reality, your body just can't take it anymore, and then of course you have to come out? The two are quite different. 10 seconds, here we go. Stretch the fingertips away, look out over the front hand, be ready and steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten the front leg, turn to face forward. And let's go straight into the next pose. Also these standing poses, it counts for one pose, but actually we're doing both sides, a little bit double work, so extra well done. We're going to come into warrior 2 legs again. This time rest your right elbow on the front knee and reach the left arm over the head for side angle pose. Parshva Konasana. So the legs haven't changed from warrior 2, but now we're leaning forward over the front leg. There's more weight in the right leg than in the left. Notice that. That doesn't mean the left foot has to be less active. You can still press the edge of that back foot down into the mat, and then from there, reach the left arm up and over. And we've got 25 seconds left. There's other variations of this pose. If you want, you might be able to touch the right hand down inside the right foot, or outside is another option. And finally, there's an option of taking a half bind or a full bind. I'm just giving them to you in case you want a little bit more spice in your yoga pose. And we're right up against the minute, even a little bit over, so come out. Turn the right toes in. Turn the left toes out. Warrior 2 legs, left elbow, right thigh. Right arm, stretch it up and over. And then find that long diagonal line at the top side of the body for your side angle pose. It's a good time for another quote, I think. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Isn't that what we're working towards in yoga? A good heart through our physical practice and our focus on compassion and awareness, and then a good head in terms of focusing capacity, letting go, and more control over our crazy thoughts. Left hand, you can place it inside the front foot if you want. Right arm reaches over, or explore the binds just briefly. Right arm behind you, left arm might be able to grab the hand there. But if it's not the case, don't panic. The other options are at least as good. Slowly release. And lift back up. Well done. Turn the left toes in. Turn the right toes out. We've got one more pose in this little sequence, which is triangle pose. And here we go. Reach the right hand forward. Lower it down, probably to that right shin. That's perfect. And lift the left arm straight up. And then lengthen the top side of the body, that's obvious, but soften that a bit so that the bottom side can also lengthen forward towards the front. Nice. That's half a minute. Hold your triangle pose steady and with a feeling of expanding in all directions. If it's available, you can place that right hand next to the right ankle. If you've got a block, that's also a nice way to practice this. But more than where the hands are, notice the stability in the legs and in the feet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift back up. Amazing stretch. Nice to hold these poses for a little bit longer than usual. Turn the left toes out. Here we go. Triangle pose. Second side. Reach forward with the left hand. Lower the left hand where it lands. And lift the right arm up. Now the body tends to do this, which is rounding the top part. It's not bad, but try to soften a bit here. And you'll feel the bottom side has more opportunity to lengthen to the front. Press both feet down and pull them a little bit underneath you towards each other. A nice, steady experience. This is such an amazing pose to both feel grounded and expanded. Maybe the left hand reaches down next to the ankle. It's probably my favorite. You can use a block to do this. Or if some of these variations are not available to you right now, then just choose something else. It's really fine. And we're up against the 1 minute. Well done. Lift back up. Place the feet together. Shake the legs out. Our next pose is standing balance, tree pose. So press your left foot down and bring the right ankle up against, in your right hand. Let me just start the time. Right foot inside the left thigh. If this is too high, you can go below your knee as well. And then lift your arms. Hold steady and strong. And there's going to be a lot of things distracting you. Sounds and images. And probably most importantly, internal distractions like thoughts and maybe fears that you fall out or that your yoga practice is not quite up to scratch, all of these are just thoughts that don't add a lot to this experience. So even if you wobble a bit, you fall out, then just come back with a smile. That is advanced yoga. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. This is our 20th year in jail. So here we go. Next side, we start the clock. Left foot, place it inside the right leg somewhere. It could be higher, it could be lower than the knee. And then when you're ready, lift the arms and find your balance. Finding balance doesn't mean you never fall out. In fact, you're likely to fall out. That's what balancing poses are for. But the point is, how easily can you come back after losing your balance? How many times can you get back up when you fall? Do you try it once, twice, 100 times? It doesn't matter. Keep pressing down to that right foot, lifting up to both hands. And can I look at my clock while I'm balancing? Oh no, actually I can't. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake the legs out. Well done. That was amazing. You'll never guess what is our next pose. It is child's pose. So after this strong series of standing poses, come down onto your knees, onto the shins, open the knees a little bit, and drape your upper body over the legs. I'm going to start the time. Unfortunately, we don't have forever. And you will notice that some years in jail seem to take forever. That 1 year is like 10. And then some, like this one probably, seem to just fly past. That's the same with days of our lives or even years. And in yoga we say, your only task is to be present to what is available right now. This is where the magic lies. Enjoy this restful little break. We never know what's going to come next, so we are taking advantage of this moment. Rest down fully for 10 more seconds. And that seemed way too short, but actually that was already more than a minute, so you're lucky. Lie down on your belly. And then start to bend the knees, hold your ankles. If this is hard for you, then you can do the straight arms and legs, the locust pose we've done before. But if it's possible, come into bow pose. Hold the legs. Kick the feet into the hands a little bit and hold. I'd recommend, we're here for a whole minute, which is usually, it's way longer than we usually hold this pose. So don't go to your maximum. Don't try to crank your legs up and lift the chest and lift your head so you can hardly breathe. That's not a good idea to stay here for that amount of time. So can you find a bit of peace in your bow pose? I remember probably the first 10 years I did yoga, this was an absolute drama. I just yanked myself up, held my breath, frowned my forehead, shot angry looks at the teacher, and wished for this to be over. But there's another way, is to be peaceful and relaxed while actually holding the pose for a little bit longer. And I have no idea how the time is doing. Oh, actually, it is 1 minute, so let go and relax. Just rest down for a moment. Slowly come back up. Come back into the wide legs before. We'll do In fact, let's do this one first. Turn the toes out, the heels in, and then sink the hips down as best as you can. So the outer knees are pressing out, the hips are softening down, the spine is lengthening up. Try not to lean forward too much. This is horse stance, another warrior-like pose, quite demanding and challenging, but let's get it out of the way. We have done 20 seconds, and so be it. Feel the quads working, feel the feet grounding down, and feel the breath moving. As soon as you focus on the breath, all the other sensations seem a little bit less urgent, a little bit less prominent. For the last part of the pose, you can place your elbows inside the thighs and gently press them away if you like, and keep softening the hips down. Last 5 seconds. Good, release the hands, straighten the legs, maybe slide them a little bit further apart if you've got space. And then fold forward over the legs. This is our next pose, wide-legged forward fold. There's lots of options. I'll talk you through them so you can choose. You can walk the hands a bit back in line with the heels of the feet and maybe soften the head down a little bit more. You can hold the hips. You can clasp the hands and reach them over the head. Or you can hold your ankles, or traditionally it's actually the big toes with the first 2 fingers, and then you touch your thumb to your fingers. So keep strong legs and relax the upper body down towards the floor. You don't need to touch the floor, of course. This is a complete detail, it's of no importance. But the legs are really the structure of this pose, so keep them strong and steady. Last 3, 2, 1. Lift halfway up. Walk your hands to your front leg. Step back to plank. And lower down. Nice. Roll over onto your back. Pose 25. We are nearly at the end of our journey of 27 years together. So place the feet so your heels are quite close to your buttocks. And then lift the hips up, press your feet down. And I'm going to start the timer for our bridge pose. I like to clasp the hands, which helps me to lift the chest a little bit more. And in this pose can really be a bridge between the old and the new, between the old habits that maybe you grew up with or that society taught you, and maybe a new possibility which very few people can perhaps see right now. Maybe a bridge between men and women, between people of different cultures, skin colors, religions, countries of origin. What are you bringing together that was previously separate? This is what Mandela was all about. And that's what our yoga practice is all about as well, to eliminate false separation. Let me check the time. We have reached the end of our bridge pose. Slowly lower the hips down. Well done. We've got one more pose before we rest in final relaxation, which is a supine twist. So I'm going to let you choose. There's a couple of options. You can just keep the knees together, drop them to one side. Or you can wrap right leg over the left, drop them to the left. I'm going to do this one. Or there's a couple of other ones. Just pick your favorite and get started. And then this is not the pose to really be pushing harder and going for the deepest twist you've ever done. It's a good time to start settling in, to turning your attention inwards more and more. and to just become that peaceful presence that we so admire in strong leaders like Nelson Mandela. That kind of presence is available to every human being. A couple of slow, deeper breaths in this shape. And then slowly come up, swap the legs, so maybe your knees stay together, they go to the right. Or you wrap left leg around the right leg and lower everything down to the right. You can open the arms wide. Oops, I forgot to press start. Relax the shoulders, the upper back, heavy on the mat. Let your body rest and let the mind rest in the body. You'll take action again when the time is right. But now this is a moment of rest and quiet. And then slowly come back up. Year number 27 in our imprisonment is Shavasana. So stretch the legs away from you. Let the feet relax to the sides. This time the timer will be for longer than our 1 minute. And take a moment to become really comfortable on your back. To rest down heavily into all the points that touch down. Your heels, your calves, your buttocks, your back, the backs of the arms, the backs of the head. Every yoga class an invitation to look a little bit deeper below the surface, to get to know ourselves a little bit better, how our mind works, how our body works, and how we can strengthen our systems to in turn help other people when we have the opportunity to do so. And there is always opportunity to help others, of course. If you'd like to rest a little bit longer after this challenging work, then feel free to stay a little bit longer. If it's time for you to move on to other projects, then move your hands and move your feet. Bend your knees and roll over onto your side. And then slowly press your hands down to lift back up. I want to leave you with one more quote by Nelson Mandela. He said, "There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." So that's exactly what we're doing in our yoga practice. We are expanding beyond our previous boundaries into the fullest version of ourselves that we can be. Place your palms together at the heart. Close your eyes, take a little moment to feel your body from the inside out. As yogis, we now get the opportunity to go out there and share this calm presence, this steady strength, this awareness and compassion with everybody around us. Touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart center, and bow to yourself on the mat. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this special class. I hope you enjoyed it and see you again soon.